Hello, everybody. Welcome to another KMU Pod live podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Tsurugi, and joining me tonight and down there in Elkhart's, Derek and Derek and Hope. How's things going? You popped that comment up there and it screwed me up.
It's good. How are you?
Man, doing okay. Hope doesn't have a name down there.
Yeah,
Neither do you, Derek, for that
camera,
matter.
it doesn't give us a name when there's an extra camera for some reason.
I had my name up there and then it went away.
Whenever we're posting comments, they go away.
Oh, I see. I see.
What's your temperature in Salina?
Too darn cold. No, -2, and I think it said it felt like a -20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Too cold.
I got a new drone. Oh, my boss bought it, and I took some shots at work yesterday, and it said not to do it, not to use it below 14 degrees. And I was just like, I used it like around like 8 degrees yesterday outside, and it was fine, but it wasn't that windy. And so last night I was at Dollar General waiting for Stephanie, and I sent it up to do like an aerial shot, and it got like 10 feet in the air, and then the camera froze over, and it was windy, and it just took off, and it flew like 2 football fields at about 100 miles an hour, just and luckily just landed in a snowbank like 2 blocks away. I ran back. Stephanie was just in line. She's like, "Well, Derek just took off running after a drone. That's going to end bad." Those things, it was flying, buddy. I was like, "Well, that sucks. It's going to shatter whenever it hits it was like right by the highway. I thought it was going to like hit a semi or something. I was like,
"Oh man, that would have sucked."
That would have been your luck.
And it wasn't even filming. It was just flying.
That would have been bad if it smacked into a semi. Oh man.
Oh yeah, those drones, man. They're fun to play with, but that's it's hard to control in the wind. You gotta be careful. Well, let's get into some cases. We got 18 people here. Share the show. We'll thank everybody for hanging out. We'll be right back after this.
Part 1. Cold cases, stories left untold, families seeking answers, and justice waiting in the shadows. Together, we uncover the truth.
All righty. Let's see. Where did I hide him, man? I know he's on here somewhere. There he is, Dietrich Foster. We've been covering him for a long, long time, and we're going to keep covering him until he's found. He's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. He was 37 when he was missing. He's now 42, 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th. He was last seen around April 12th in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, he was 37 when he was missing. He's now 42. He is 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He does have a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on the right side of his nose. Has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner on his arm, and the word foo on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there is still a governor's award of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest, conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So let's see if we can't help get him located and back to where he needs to be. And if he is no longer with us, so he can be laid to rest properly.
Yeah.
Let's get those tips called in. I know somebody knows something. It's just a matter of getting in there and calling it in. So if you know something, call it in, please.
He's my age, man. Like, it's just 37-year-olds don't disappear on their own volition. They have too much stuff going on.
Right.
Like, you have either work that relies on you, kids, family, a spouse, a girlfriend. There's too many people that rely on humans that, I don't know, once you're 37, I just don't see it taking off. It's scary.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Is that from Dairy Cream?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Hope's eating some ice cream from Dairy Cream. It's a plug.
She didn't bring us none. Come on.
It's really rude.
Not that she could have got me any anyway. I'm so far away, but that's okay.
You got to try Dairy Cream, man. It's the
Oh, I like Dairy Queen. They're
oh no, it's Dairy Cream with a K.
Yep.
oh, cream, Dairy Cream. Oh, I've
Yeah,
never
it's
heard of
like
that
a
one.
mom pop place. It's been around since like
1953 is when it opened.
Oh, wow.
yeah. It's
Let me see. We got Double T back in the house. My little brother, and then Deidre Carlin. Hey, Deidre, how you doing?
I'll show you some Dairy Cream
Um,
food, Ricky. We'll do some.
Oh, wow.
I've been doing some marketing for them. It's really good, man. It's affordable.
Wow.
Barbecue.
Dang, you make me hungry, man.
I know, man. It's good. Well, Hope's over here eating Dairy Cream ice cream, and I'm like, that's messed up. I
Wow.
love some Dairy Cream
It's
ice
my
cream.
supper.
I know.
All right. Now, another one we've been covering since pretty much day one. Alexander Perez, missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st, 2020. Was 35 when he went missing. He's now 39, 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He contacted a family member on the phone on December 1st, said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. He's not been heard from or seen by family or friends since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 39, 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. Has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. Has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500, or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Alexander located and back to where he needs to be.
And I think they're at square one on that whole thing since he got since that got removed from the guy who's in on trial in Garden City. This got removed from his docket, so
Oh, man.
just square one for Alexander. Queenie says nice buns. I hope she's talking about the Dairy Cream.
Yeah, me. I started looking behind me. What the heck? Let's see. Here's Jonathan Jensen. This is another one that I would like to see him found too. Been missing from Kerwin, Kansas since June 14th, 2023. 52 when he went missing. He's now 54. 5'11", 190 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. He left without his cell phone, his vehicle, or his wallet. His daughter says that he also tends to have episodes. He has mental health issues and tends to have episodes. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 52. He's now 54. 5'11", weighs 190 pounds, has brown hair and hazel eyes. If you have any information regarding Jonathan's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Phillips County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-543-6885, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Jonathan located and back to where he needs to be. Oh, mercy.
Shout out to my mods, DF and Raven, cleaning up the streets of YouTube chat. There's just too much crap out there these days. I don't like
I'm telling you what.
I don't like any crap. They get rid of the crap.
Same with Facebook, man. You get all these scam comments all the time. Drives me
a couple mods,
crazy.
Bro. You're getting taken over. Yeah, I see that. It's every I had what was it? I'm a marketing manager for like 5 companies. So I'm like, I have the admin and I'm admin of your page. Yours is the most annoying because 100 people message you a day about, flyers and stuff and things on my phone. And I never involve myself in your work because I don't want to read your messages because I don't want you to think, see it's read and you don't get to see it. So, but other than that, like, on the 5 companies that are like real legit companies that I market for, twice a week they all get messages from just some random Facebook user this your page is going to be deleted in 24 hours. I'm just like, I just delete it.
Oh, I get those all the time.
I think
I've
Mark
gotten them on.
Zuckerberg. Why would Mark Zuckerberg send Shayna from Tennessee to tell me my page is? It's just, I don't know. Facebook needs an overhaul. Not the ones that they do all the time where they change everything and move buttons. Just they need to go in there and get rid of a lot of those fake profiles because it's wild.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I get that deletion thing on every one of my pages that I do. And it's just like, I know it's a scam. I know it's BS. Just like I get them in my email now too. I get one of my emails saying I've had 48 complaints on my email address and they're going to delete it and I have to get a hold of them to rectify it and all this other crap. It's like, get away from me.
Double T to describe.
All right. Moving on to Haley Davis. This is Salina, Kansas case. She's been missing from here since July 21st, 2023. She was 19 when she was missing. She's now 20, 5'6" to 5'7", 190 to 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde. She has blue eyes. She did leave Salina with a male acquaintance to go to Wichita, Kansas, and she was last active on her social media and last heard from on July 21st, 2023. Again, she was 19 when she was missing. She's now 20, 5'6" to 5'7", weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she has blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Haley's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. Or text SA Tips to Crimes to 74637. Or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way. Or you can call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4407 or 316-263-6011. Or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And again, I know people out there have information on her case. I just would like to see them call it in so they can get her found and back to her family. Because, like I said, went to her vigil last summer, talked to her brother, talked to her aunt. I saw her little boy. I didn't talk to him because he was being rambunctious and playing around and everything. But he's got a lot of energy. But if you know anything at all, even if it's small, even if you think it's small or not important, call it in anyway. Let the police decide whether it's important or not. Let's get it called in.
I'm kind of with Double T on this one. With her having a kid, if she didn't have a kid, I would be less like knee-jerk reaction to go to a dark place. If she's a 19-year-old girl with no kid, a part of me would be like, she probably don't want to be found. She's just out, but she had a kid. So based on what her family, what they've said, she doesn't seem like she was the type of person that was willing to trade her kid for anything, freedom or any type of thing. So I tend to think, again, a lot of these, most people don't just, go missing, it's usually if an adult is not accounted for for a good 24 to 48 hours, like I think you got to go dark. You got to automatically assume like, okay, we might have a bad situation here.
Absolutely.
So yeah, with this case, again, like you say, a lot of people say they know things. Here with Elkhart, with some of the cases that we cover, sometimes I get so much information that I think could possibly help out in a lot of cases. But these are from people that are willing to tell it to a chubby guy in Elkhart, but they won't tell the police. I think there's a fear of citizens and giving information to the police. I think people are scared to be called a snitch, or you're scared of if somebody did hurt Haley and you go rat them out, then in that missing mom's case, there was 14 days that we were sitting here running our mouths. We had no idea. Well, we had kind of an idea. We had no idea who actually did it. And they weren't far from us the whole time we were covering, so like I get it's scary to talk about people that have done something scary and bad, like it's
yeah. I know.
Raven says somebody out there knows something about these missing cases.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I firmly believe that. There's probably very few cases that probably doesn't apply, but I'm sure more times than not, that somebody knows something. And then there's Catherine Adam, another Salina case that's near and dear to me. Never knew her, but it's just the fact that I've lived here all my life, and this happened when I was working at the truck stop, and we had a lot of flooding that year, which I know hampered investigation and stuff. But it's just another one that really bothers me. Been missing from here in Salina since April 29th, 1993. She was 35 when she was missing. She now be 67. 5'4", 120 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She was last seen at 4:30 in the morning on April 29th of 1993 at the Quick Shop convenience store in the 1700 block of West Crawford Street in Salina, Kansas. She drove a full-sized Ford van with "She Has Legs" written on the sides. Her van turned up abandoned at 5:45 the day after. She disappeared at Russell's Restaurant in the 600 block of West Point Boulevard, and I did find out through doing some research on her case, through reading newspaper articles and this and that, the van was actually found on the north side of the restaurant, which would have been away from the truck stop and away from the entrance of the restaurant, which they were closed anyway. They were closed for remodeling. The van had mud on the bottom part of the van and in the wheel wells, and it was blood-soaked on the inside. A large amount of blood was also found at the storage unit, where she was loading up her legs pantyhose out there on Centennial and Magnolia out there. It used to be called Triplet Storage. It's now known as Citywide Storage. But there was no sign of her at either place, and she's never been heard from again. They also did find bullet fragments out there as well. I was reading in an article. Police speculate someone attacked Catherine when she went inside the storage unit. It appeared they interrupted her in the process of loading the merchandise in her van, leaving the door of the unit open. Catherine was separated from her husband at that time and had a teenage daughter. And another article I read stated that he had been questioned extensively and ruled out as a suspect. Her case does remain unsolved, and foul play is strongly suspected in her case. If you have any information regarding Catherine's disappearance, her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA TIPS to crimes 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to get your information in that way, or call KBI at 785-296-4017 or 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't help get her located and get this thing wrapped up. It's been way too long to be 32 years in April. So let's see if we can get it wrapped up.
On all these cases, you can always leave anonymous tips. You can call Crime Stoppers. It's been 11,619 days since Catherine was attacked.
That's crazy.
It's a long time. Esther Unruh in the house. Nunya in the house. Double T saying Catherine's case is haunting to a lot of us. I really hope it gets solved. Her daughter deserves closure. After all this time, 32 years is 32 years too long.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it was said that her van, when it was located at Russell's, says she was very meticulous in keeping gas records, and it was said there was 60 miles put on the van between the time she gassed it up before she went missing and when it was located after. So police, in essence, pretty much searched a 30-mile radius around Salina, which, like I said, it's, they got hampered in that end of it because of all the rain we got that spring and a lot of flooding around the area that spring. So I don't know. A lot of stuff got washed away, I'm sure.
Your brother's saying that your flyers suck.
Yeah, it's missing the 6. I got to fix that.
No, you're a content creator, Ricky. You make these flyers from scratch. I make an advertisement for a company, and I've learned not to send it to my bosses. I send it to my wife and my buddy Kent Williams. My buddy Kent Williams is such a good friend that he picks it apart. Like, well, this sucks. He told me the other day I misspelled jalapeno, which he's white and I'm half Mexican, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah,
it happens. It's okay.
You start making something, it's really easy to leave something off.
And this coming from my brother, Mr. Unlawful Discharge of a Fireman.
Christopher Hughes says, awesome job. This channel is the best for information channels on Kansas for Kansas.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's better than Salina Schools posting Salina Public Schools. I cannot imagine going on a lifetime.
Oh,
not knowing
yeah,
what my
we had a
baby-
good one. They had put out a release from the public schools, and on their release, they actually spelled it pubic schools. On their formal release, I kid you not. They sent. I saw that, and but not just once. They did it twice in the release. They spelled it that way twice, and I about fell over laughing. It was like, oh my gosh.
You got to get Chat GPT at that point. Just run it through there. Run it through there. Be like, hey, did I write anything embarrassing as heck? Pubic. This case we talked about last week. It's on the deck of cards that you helped with, and then also this is the one where, again, all these 25-year-old decides he wants to take off and basically say I don't like my friends and family, I don't like my town, but this dude, everything he left in his car, I could see him living without, but the wheelchair, no, it's really hard
definitely
to get away without your wheelchair. But yeah, go ahead and tell us about Alex Michael LaRusso.
Yeah, he's missing from here in Salina. I've got several Salina cases in here because I really want to keep them out in front of everybody because I don't feel like that enough is being done locally to do that. And I've been told by another individual that has an aunt that is a victim of unsolved homicide here in town that she feels like I'm the only one that does it. So I'm going to continue to keep doing it. And I told her I was going to keep doing it. But anyway, getting back to Alex LaRusso. Been missing from here in Salina since December 8th, 2017. He was 25 when he was missing. He's now 32. 6'2", 175 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. The last contact Alex had with his family was at 4 a.m. on December 8th. He is wheelchair bound and his left leg is amputated above the knee. The vehicle he was driving was found on a farm in New Cambria, Kansas, in northeast Saline County. Again, his cell phone, his clothing, his wheelchair were found in the vehicle, among other items. Again, he was 25 when he was missing, and now be 32. He's 6'2", weighs 175 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Has a tattoo on the left side of his neck that says pain. Tattoo of the number 13 on the right side of his chest and the star on the left side of his chest. There's a picture of it up there. If you have any information regarding Alex's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 or 1-800-572-7463. Or you can call Crime Stoppers Anonymous at 785-825-8477. Or again, you can text SA Tips to Crimes 274637. There's also the www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip that way and see if we can help get him located and back to where he needs to be.
Double T says Saline County is roughly 30 miles wide and 30 miles long, meaning Catherine literally could have been dumped anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Definitely.
I'm only 42, so I was pretty young in 93. But I remember the flooding because I think I was in the 5th grade. Yeah, 5th grade in 93, and we went to Topeka. And it was like after, I think, all that flooding. I remember like that was big in the news when we went to Topeka about all the flooding. That was like on CNN and stuff. There was massive flooding in Kansas.
Well, I have a shirt that says we fought the flood of 1993, and my uncle was working down on the Mississippi River and all that when it was all flooding back then too.
Yeah.
Norm actually told me Norm's a genius. Kansas there used to be an ocean here a long time ago, and that's why you can find like shark teeth and stuff like here. I never knew that. I thought that water was a scarcity here. Terry says, I feel like Alex is a foul play. He's either I'd be surprised if he's still alive. To me, with him not having his wheelchair, I don't see how he could have got very far at all. But maybe I wonder if somebody made him go somewhere,
And I was told at one point that he never used crutches; he just used the wheelchair. And I did see a picture of him from a security camera at Walmart. And I'll see if I can find it again, where he's actually just kind of like not in his wheelchair, but he's just up on the one foot, going on the one foot.
Looks like Christopher knew Alex. He said his girlfriend was Nuna. He can't remember her full name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Alex one of the ones, again, like this is 100% speculation, not on me and Ricky's part. Was Alex in the mix of that lady all those years ago that said that some of these cases were connected because of Facebook?
I believe he might have been. I have to go back and reread all the messages if I can find them. I haven't heard from her in a very, very, very long time. But she was working on trying, she was going over each of these missing persons' Facebook pages and going through their friends list to see if they had friends in common. And she had discovered that a lot of them did have the same friends in common. So she was wondering if maybe there wasn't a link that way. Maybe there was a common denominator between the four that, or three or four, however many.
Yeah, Double T says he was in the list.
Yeah. So,
That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And it says Gail Adele Lady Sorens. And this is one that I just actually did on the show for the first time last week. And I
one
wanted
of my
to go
mods
ahead
sent
and
me in this case, and I hadn't. You said you had found out you'd made a flyer years ago, but I don't think we'd ever covered it.
Yeah, I did a flyer for her a long while back, but it had a black and white photo from the newspaper I had used because it was the only one I could find. So I was glad you sent me what you sent me because it gave me a better photo. But
And
this
looking
was
at
back
it
on.
now, she does look like an adult. Whenever up until you started reading it, I thought her picture thought she looked like a kid, maybe, but she kind of looks like an adult.
Well, she was even married, so
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
go ahead. Yeah.
And this is back in February of '77 in Hutchinson, Kansas. On February 11th, '77, Gail Sorensen left work to run some errands for her employer. After she did not return to work, her coworkers became concerned and notified her husband, who reported her missing. Later that evening, Gail's vehicle was found in the Dillon's parking lot at 734 East 4th in Hutchinson. A witness who was later interviewed said she observed a vehicle in the Dillon's parking lot that is believed to have been Gail's. She said that she had observed a woman sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle and an unknown white man standing outside of the driver's door talking to the driver. She said that they were both laughing and she assumed that they knew each other. The unknown man was described as 26 to 28 years old, 5'10" to 6 foot, with shaggy brown hair, which was about collar length or longer. He was described as wearing white wire frame glasses and brown lenses and a red stocking cap, and he had a mustache and goatee. And I did keep the photo of the composites. If Derek wants to pop it up, he can. Several days later, Gail's body was discovered southeast of Hutchinson along the Arkansas River, Arkansas River, say that right, levee. Her throat had been slashed and she had been sexually assaulted. Police are puzzled as to how the killer gained access to the area since the fence prevented vehicles from entering, and officers had to break a padlock to gain entry. Her body could be seen from the other side of the water. However, fresh motorcycle tracks were found on the opposite side of the river. The bank deposit was never made. However, Gail only had $300 in cash. The rest of the $1,800 was in checks. Gail's purse was noted to be missing. Investigators also note that several years prior, they had investigated 2 cases. Hang on just a second.
Ricky's daughter, folks, is backstage. Probably watching YouTube. Probably upset by something she saw.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I don't know what she wants. Anyway. Okay, let's see here. Gail's purse was noted to be missing. Investigators also note that several years prior, they investigated 2 cases in which a man accosted a woman in a parking lot with a knife at a discount store. In one case, a man sexually assaulted a woman after forcing her to drive her car to a rural area. In the second case, the man was frightened away by another motorist. The FBI Behavior Analysis Unit was asked to construct a profile after graffiti was found in a nearby Hutchinson Cessna Fluid Products plant in May, as well as a random caller contacting the local radio station and having a 3-hour conversation with the host. However, police and KBI have not discussed the connection. And there's also that photo from the newspaper. It shows the graffiti as well that I left in there. If you have any information regarding Gail's murder, please call the Reno County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-694-2735 or 620-694-2800 or the KBI at 1-800-572-7463. Or to remain anonymous, you can call 620-694-2666 or 800-222-8477 and see what we can do to get some justice for Gail Sorensen and her family and friends. Goodness gracioso.
Yeah, Double T said he wasn't familiar with this case. I'd never heard of it, but it was 1977, so.
She was born in Ulysses.
Really?
Mhm.
So she's like basically close to us.
And did you pop up the composite in that?
Yeah, I did. I'll put
Okay.
them back. I was cycling
Okay.
through them while you were talking.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was the composite they worked up, and then the graffiti was pretty bizarre. It said something about I killed Gail Sorensen and had initials underneath it. That was pretty crazy. Yes, parenthood is a blast. Let me tell you what.
Mariah's watching from McPherson. Is the source in case what you? Oh yeah, this is Raven's the one that sent me this one.
Yeah.
DF lives in Michigan.
Oh wow.
Sorry, DF. She lives on 8 Mile, 2 houses down from where Eminem grew up. Didn't mean to dox you, DF. 2 houses down from where greatest white rapper ever, Eminem, grew up. Good luck finding that guy. Christopher Zibbelman. Have we covered this before? He went missing on my birthday.
I don't know if we covered it last week or not. We might have. I added more pictures. I know that. I added the very far left and then the two on the right half. He went missing from Wichita, Kansas since February 7th on 2025 at 3:30 in the afternoon. He was last seen near Douglas and Meridian in Wichita. He's 51 years old, 5'11", weighs approximately 180 pounds, bald hair, or he's bald and has green eyes. Good Lord. If you have any information regarding Christopher's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call 911 immediately or call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4111 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get him located and back to his family, because I know they're frantically worried about him. And he does have that tattoo on the side of his neck, and I was trying to make out what the darn thing says, but I haven't quite had too good a luck. I think it's a name, looks like.
I don't think anybody should be good at this. This guy's like you make a lot of missing people posters, and some of the pictures people have of themselves either have filters or just they're not great pictures. This guy, all these guys' pictures are great for a flyer. Like it's just you can totally what this guy looks like from these 4 pictures.
Right.
Like a lot of times we'll have people on here and all 4 pictures will look like 4 different people, which is great. People can be like chameleons and they can express themselves in different way. But like this is a flyer that I'm like, that's exactly what that guy looks like.
Right.
We have Johnny Cupic. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not recalling.
Okay, let's see. Where are you at, John? I know he's on here. There he is, very top. Johnny Cupic, missing from Wichita, Kansas since February 5th of 2024. So it's been almost a little over a year. Was 24 when he missing. He's now 25. He's 5'6", 135 pounds, blonde hair, brown eyes. His ears are pierced. If you have any information regarding Johnny's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4111 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get him located and back to where he needs to be.
Double T says bald hair.
Yeah, I know. I goofed.
Yes, Rodney Cox. DF lives 2 houses down from the only white rapper in history, is what Rodney's saying. If that'll help you find her house where she lives. Let me see. Wow. All these wrenches in here. I'm starting to look like a chalk panel.
Don't start.
All right, we got a few more, actually quite a few, about 6 or 7 more cold cases, and then we have endangered runaways and out-of-state cases. You're watching Kansas Missing Unsolved podcast. Tell us about Dondi Stewart. I don't remember this one either.
It's a newer one that I just did too. And I know he's on here. There he is. Dondi Stewart, missing from Wichita, Kansas since July 6, 2024. 54 when he was missing. He's now 55. 6'3", 180 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dondi's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4111 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Dondi located and back to where he needs to be.
Dondi looks 30 years old.
I know.
I'm always bad with ages, but if I worked with this guy, I would never think he was in his 50s.
No, wow.
He looks good, man. He looks like he's 30 years old, man. Yeah, DF, 2 houses down from famous white rapper Eminem.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to jump out of the studio and jump back in because I'm having some glitchy going on over here. My screen kind of went blackish, but I can still see the flyer in the comments, but I can't click on anything in the comments. So I'm going to jump out and jump back in.
Right.
And I'll be. So give me just a second.
All right, you're good.
Okay. Well, it won't even let me. Won't even let me click on that. Will it? Come on.
You might just do a full reset on your computer. I'll read a flyer while you're gone.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I think.
She's gonna go visit D first.
Okay. Restarting.
All right, Ricky's gonna restart in the tree. Yeah, we are gonna get true crime van. Claire Slope just had a birthday yesterday, and her family would really like to celebrate her birthday with her. If I don't know if you have her on tonight, we will put her on when Ricky gets back. I'll have him put her on here. So many missing from Wichita.
Yeah.
You can come over, and I will have my minivan too. We are gonna work off that van. I know a lot about Kansas, though. So many things. Well, you know, you and Eminem are in that club, the Kansas Appreciation Club. Deshaw K. Mitchell, missing from Wichita, Kansas, since February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2025. She was 27, 5'7", 120 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. Went missing from Wichita, Kansas on February 14th, 2025. The Wichita Police Department had issued an attempt to locate Deshawn to check on her welfare. She's 27. If you have any information regarding her disappearance or if you know of her whereabouts, please call 911. Usually when it says that, folks, it usually means like don't approach Deshaw. How do you say that? Deshaya? Yeah. So usually if it just says 911, they usually, and it says, checking on her welfare. Maybe this girl's going through a tough situation right now. And a stranger approaching her might not be the best thing for that situation. So just call 911 if you see her in the Wichita area. You can also call 316-263-6011. You can also just call the police department or the investigators at 316-268-4407. KBI 785-296-4017. Probably just a volatile situation. She might need some help with some mental stuff. So yeah, just don't approach. If you see her, just call the authorities right away and they can get her some help. Jeremy R. Coots, missing from Atchison, Kansas since February 18th, 1977. And Ricky's screen is black. We'll see if there he is. You back, buddy? I pulled you down. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, buddy. Go ahead. You can go on this one. Jeremy Coots.
Okay. I got to pull him back up because doing that, I lost everything I had in my paint, so I got to pull him back up. Give me a second here. Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, it's going to be one of them days.
Eminem's mom was born right here. And see, that's why DF knows so much about Kansas, because her neighbor, 2 doors down, Eminem's mom. What's his mom's name? He hated her. Debbie.
Was it Debbie?
His wife was Kim, and his mom was Debbie. He's like, I settled on my loss. F you, Debbie.
This. Yeah, okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Jeremy R. Coots. Middle name is Ray. Missing from Atchison, Kansas since February 18th, 1977. Was 4 when he was missing. He's now 52. So he's been missing 48 years. He's 3 foot tall. When he went missing, he was 40 to 60 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. He was last seen in the Potato Hill area of South Atchison, Kansas on February 18th, 1977. He was at a babysitter's home, and she allowed him to play outside in the yard with her own 4-year-old son. He wandered away, walking east, and has never been heard from again. 5-day search of the area. Let's see, we turned up no sign of him. Jeremy's babysitter's home was about 400 yards from the Missouri River. Dogs tracked Jeremy's scent to its banks. Authorities believe Jeremy fell into the river and drowned. His body has never been recovered, and no trace of Jeremy has ever been found, including his clothing, his shoes, or his hearing aid. And he was 4 when he went missing. He would now be 52. At the time he went missing, he was 3 foot tall, weighed 30 to 60 pounds, had brown hair and blue eyes. He had a scar on the left side of his jaw, and a scar on his forehead, and a scar on his chin. He does suffer from severe hearing loss. He wore a Mako brand hearing aid with a serial number 41076 at the time of his disappearance. He can make out voices when he wears the hearing aid, but is almost entirely deaf without it. It was one of those hearing aids that, he had the box in the pocket and had the thing in the ear and had the cord that went from that to the box and plugged into the box. He was last known to be wearing a blue coat with patches of blue and purple plaid and a hood tied with orange string, one red mitten hanging from his coat sleeve by an elastic band, a blue shirt, light colored pants, and square-toed brown cowboy boots with a bird design. And if you have any information regarding Jeremy's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the KBI at 1-572-7463 or 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get him located and back to his mom. I know she is still a very hard thing for her to cope with year after year after year. The anniversary of his disappearance was yesterday, and she, posted a pretty heart-wrenching post yesterday, I saw. So let's see what we can do to help get him found and back home.
That is...
I couldn't even imagine.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you know Eminem's mom, Ricky?
I don't know. What's her name?
Debbie Nelson, your brother said she was from Salina.
I'd have to know how old she is and stuff like that. I don't know.
Roxanne Ann Fisher was here. She says, oh gosh, she has COVID.
Oh. Get well soon, Roxanne.
Wow. All right, we got 5 more, and then we'll go on to the out of state, the runaways.
Right. Yeah, this one, I was deep diving into Nellie Hubbard's case today because I wanted to really, see what all I could learn. And I've got a bunch of articles I've been going through and reading and things of that nature. Let's see here. This is on March 14th, 1981. Nellie Mae Hubbard's murder is still unsolved, and it's been longer than 43 years. I got to update that little number. It's been more along the lines of, let's see, 1920, almost 44 years. It'll be 44 years in March, so that's pretty accurate, I guess. Happened on March 14th, 1981. Nellie was found deceased in a residence at 1008 East Elm Street on the cot she slept on in her living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was found on the floor. She put up a struggle during her attack. Ultimately, Nellie Hubbard died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. I'm assuming it's the hyoid bone. She also had an injury to the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other injuries. Upon searching Nellie's home, investigators found $93,000 in cash stashed in various places around the house, and over $100,000 in certificates of deposit, and a large quantity of silver coins dating back to 1886. So nearly $200,000 worth of stuff there. Investigators also discovered that Nellie's home was filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made 2 bedrooms completely unusable. Nellie Mae Hubbard deserves to be able to rest in peace. See what we can do to help bring her killer to justice. And if you have any information, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA TIPS to CRIMES, which is 274-637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 785-296-4017 or 800-572-7463. And that cigarette lighter at the top of the flyer, that was found under her body when they rolled her over when they were investigating. She wasn't a smoker and she didn't use lighters, so that had to have belonged to her killer. And that is the actual lighter. If you look at the left-hand picture where the lighter's closed, you can still see the fingerprint dust on the top. I got these photos from the Salina Police Department. So, and I'm still in search of a better photo of her, better than what I have on there, but that's all I've been able to find so far. I sent out a message today to see if I can't get one from another source that I hadn't thought of until today. So we'll see if that pans out or not. Hopefully, maybe. We'll see.
So $93,000 in 1981. So if this crime happened today, they would have found $323,000.
Holy crap. Yeah. Yeah, and at that point in time, I think the only living family member she had was her brother because she didn't have kids and she was a widow. He had passed away in 1967. So I don't know what became of all of that.
So $93,000 in cash and then $100,000 in the bank, essentially. So she had over $500,000 to her name the day she died.
Yeah.
Well, and like, you know, like in today's money, basically, she was very wealthy in 1981.
Yeah, she owned real estate. She had rental properties. So what I've always wondered, and one of my kind of a little bit of a theory that I had was wondering if maybe somebody got wind that she may have had money in the house and was going to go after it, and maybe they didn't realize she was home, and so it spooked them out of looking for it, and they took off. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like it was that hard to find, though. I mean, it said that upon just looking through her house, they found. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
You would think that much cash.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go in there and do something that horrible and take somebody's life, you spend 5 extra minutes looking for the cash, you know.
Oh well, yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Hey Ryan, how you doing, Ryan?
Fugly says it probably wasn't a robbery. I wonder how many of those responsible for the demise of these missing people were repeat offenders. Yeah, that's one thing that's kind of makes me feel better is when we cover these cases. Whenever you watch like old like unsolved mysteries and they do updates, a lot of times they find that when they find the culprit of these homicides, they're already in prison for another crime.
Yeah.
So if there's a lot of people, you know, that we talk about these cases, I think that there could be people out there that, you know, did harm to people, but in all likelihood, they're probably behind bars right now for something else they did, you know.
Right.
So kind of makes me feel a little bit better, you know, like that a lot of them do end up in jail.
Yeah.
Ryan's tired of the cold. They say 60s next week or maybe end of the week is what I heard. So
yeah, 50s and 60s the beginning part of the week next week. You know, well, I guess and over the weekend it'll get into the 50s and then the beginning of the week into the low 60s. So should be pretty nice.
Yeah.
And this is another one that it's just a crazy case. Another Salina one. This is Gina Bridget Cyphers. It's an unsolved homicide. She was 24 years old with an infant son, and by all accounts, she was a loving mother and a good person. December 28th, 1995, Gina dropped off her 15-month-old son at a daycare program called Morning Out for Moms at a Salina church. When she didn't return a couple hours later to pick him up, the daycare called Gina's boyfriend at work. He went to the mobile home they shared and found Gina brutally murdered. The baby was suddenly without a mom, and the police were left with a case that has proven to be a tough one. Obviously, it's still unsolved since 1995. It was a crowded mobile home park in the heart of Salina with trailers that were close together. The violence happened sometime between 9 a.m. and noon. Still, all these years later, Gina Cyphers' murder remains unsolved. Initial news reports said that she was stabbed, but police are still keeping a lot of details secret. They say there have been a lot of leads and that have gone nowhere. And if you look at that little playing card down there at the bottom, it does say on there that she was stabbed, strangled, and possibly sexually assaulted. So they kind of clarify that on that playing card. I didn't really pay attention to that until I'll have to show you something here in a second. If you have any information regarding on Gina's death, you can call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA Tips to Crimes 274-637 or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip that way. There is a governor's reward of $5,000 available for the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for Gina's murder. So, get that information, call in, and see if we can't get some justice for her and her son and the rest of her family and friends. And I found out a little interesting tidbit. I work with a family member of hers out at Menards. I just found out. I did not know that until my brother pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, interesting. Okay." And I did notice after I found out that, he pointed out who her mom was. I noticed her mom had actually liked one of our videos last week.
Really?
So her mom does know of us. So let's hope she sees this particular show. Because I do want to help get the person responsible for this caught. And I did do some deep diving in her case as well. I've been going on the public library website and getting on the newspaper archives that way. That's kind of a way to do it for free. Going through the library. I didn't discover that until not too long ago. But what I've been working on is when I get a chance to set up my Kansas Missing and Unsolved table, I've been putting together. Oh, dang it! Come on, camera. Yeah, you can't see it because of the damn. Trying to show it to you. Oh, there we go. It's a binder I've put together. There we go. It has all the articles that I've located in the newspaper archives, and I've put in here. I've got one for Catherine Adam too, and I'm working on one for Nellie Hubbard as we speak. I don't know if Derek showed these or not, but I'm going to show. Okay, I'm going to show you some stuff here. This right here. It shows you the trailer court on the top photo. That was in 2013, and you can see where there were trailers that had already been removed, but Gina's trailer is still there, circled in red, and the trees and what remaining trailers there are. The bottom photo is a current shot of the same lot, completely bare, and that's what it looks like right now, completely bare. That white building still remains, but the rest is completely cleaned out. No trees, no trailers, no nothing. And this is a couple shots of what her trailer looked like. The website I got them off of says they were courtesy of the Salina Police Department, so I don't know how they got them, but I thank them for it. The top one is the front door of the trailer, and the bottom picture is kind of the rear angle view of it. And then the next one I had was that same angled shot, and then I tried to line up the same shot. I should have moved over to the right a little bit, but that's her lot right there where her trailer did sit. And you can see completely empty, nothing there. Everything's gone.
Those trailers sit really close to each other. I'm surprised
They did. I mean, if you look at that bottom picture,
parks, you hear your neighbors' activities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can see trailers, next row back. I mean, they were very close together. And I remember that trailer court. I periodically end up going by there for one reason or another. Like I drove by there today going to pick up my younger daughter because she was over at her friend's house over in the trailer court further west down the street, and drove right by there as I was going to get her. And of course, it's an empty lot covered in snow at the moment, but it's there. I was once told PD possibly had a suspect in mind in Gina's case, but they've never had enough evidence to charge him. Also, there was no forced entry into her mobile home. I saw one article. Well, actually, I was watching. I think I found the article, but I was watching a podcast that was done about Gina's case, and he was quoting from an article, and it stated that we could know who did it, but we don't have enough evidence to charge them, and you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in court to get a conviction. So it sounds like they may have at some point, just not enough to actually do anything with it. Yeah, meaning that Gina most likely knew her killer and let him in. Yeah, that's true.
Christopher Hughes says, Charles McHenry, did you cover his case? We have in the past.
We have in the past, yes.
We can cover it next week for you if you want.
Yeah, sure.
We need to. We haven't covered it in a while.
Yeah.
We used to cover that quite a bit. I think he's another one that was involved in that lady's speculation where she thought maybe
I think he was. I know
they were all Facebook friends.
Yeah. And Raven saying, I hate to say it, but I wonder how thorough of an investigation it really is done on some cases. How can people vanish or be brutally murdered and no one knows a thing? Yeah. Good points, all of them.
Christopher Hunter wants to know how much snow you got.
Not as much as they predict. They were talking like we might get upwards towards 6 to 8 inches, but I think we only got maybe a couple. Because I mean, I'm still seeing grass here and there through the snow, so it's not that much. Not that much at all.
All right, we only got like 5 or 6 cases left. We'll be right back after this.
Part 2. Endangered Runaways, Young Lives at Risk, Stories that Demand Attention, and a Race Against Time. Together we can make a difference.
Yeah, right. And I forgot to change out that flyer because I got a more recent picture of him and swapped the picture out. Oh my goodness. Okay. As I was sent a more recent photo last night, so I swapped out the photo and reposted it, and I forgot to swap it in the show here. Matter of fact, let's do this. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, just like I say, I'd like to keep the slant of cases out there in front of everybody's eyes, so they can know for sure that these cases are still active and open. And let's switch it to that one. That's the more recent photo there.
Nice.
Okay. This other one's kind of an older photo. I used the first flyer I did for him a little while back, and like I said, I was sent a new one, so I thought, well, we'll use it. Of course, I'm scrambling to find the flyer because, of course, when I reset my computer, everything I had pulled went away. So I'm scrambling. So forgive me. Okay, Blazer Sargent. He went missing from Wichita, Kansas on February 17th of this year. He's 13, 5'6", 120 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Don't have much more than that, but if you have any information regarding Blazer's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department, 316-660-9452, or 316-660-9456, or 263-6011, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Blazer located and back to where he needs to be. I did see a comment on his flyer. Somebody was making the comment that apparently he's going through a lot right now. I'm not sure what, because they didn't reveal that, but that he was going through a lot, and share to get him found. So let's do what we can do to help do that. And this is another one that I did yesterday, I believe. I ended up staying from work yesterday because it was just so cold, and I was worried about my furnace because once a winter, that thing always gets to a point where it's not blowing hot air, it starts blowing cooler air, which means the relay inside burned through, and I got to get a hold of the landlord and have him come up, and he yanks it out, cleans it off, cuts off the burned ends, wires it back together, and sticks it back in there. So, but it didn't go out. It hasn't gone out, so let's knock on wood that it doesn't. But this is Jade Ursery, missing from Wichita since February 10th, 2025. She is 16. She's 5'3", 110 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Don't have much more than that, but if you have any information regarding Jade's disappearance or her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9254 or 316-660-9456 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can help get Jade located and back to where she needs to be. Yeah, lots of folks missing from Wichita, whether they're juveniles or adults. There's a lot, and I don't know why that is, but I don't know. That's why I've always said you wouldn't be able to pay me enough to actually live there. Now, this is Shelby McDaniel. She's missing out of Kansas City, Kansas since March 26, 2024. 16 when she went missing. She's now 17. We're coming up on a year next month. She's 5'5", 164 pounds, blonde or white hair and blue eyes. She has ties to Crestline, Columbus, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And she was 16 when she went missing. She's now 17, 5'5", 164 pounds, blonde or white hair and blue eyes. And I think I mentioned last week when we covered her, the second picture from the right was just recently sent to me, and I added it last week, and I wanted to run it again this week to get her out there again. If you have any information regarding Shelby's disappearance, so you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can get Shelby located and back to where she needs to be. And like I said, it's coming up on a year next month, and I'm sure somebody knows where she's at. You just need to do the right thing and speak up and call that in. As I said, it's been nearly a year.
Yeah.
And here's another young lady that's been missing for a little while, and we've covered her a few times now, I guess. Tess Jan, missing from Wichita. Since December 3rd, 2024, 16 years old, 5'1", weighs between 100 and 110 pounds, blonde hair, hazel eyes, kind of blue hazel, I guess. If you have any information regarding Tessa's disappearance and you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9254 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Tess located and back to where she needs to be.
Hope's got some information for us.
Well, I used to do the current missing Kansans, and today there is 146 juveniles and 366 adults.
Wow.
Is it just me, or was there over 200 juveniles like when we were doing the show?
When before we took the break, it was right around 200.
Yeah, so that's
usually.
good. It's been down the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
It was like around 200 every week.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it's also super cold. So if anybody that was missing on their own volition, they might have carried their butt home with the negative 20 crap.
Yeah. This is Gracie Waldorf. I've done a flyer for her, last year sometime, and I used the photo on the left, but I was sent the one on the right, and that was the most recent they had, and that's what they sent. But she's missing from Kansas City, Kansas since February 16th of this year. She's 16, 5'3", 160 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. It's believed she may still be in the local Kansas City area, or she may be trying to get to Oklahoma City. Again, she's 16, 5'3", 160 pounds, brown hair that was last known to be cut short, like on the right-hand side there, and brown eyes. And she may be wearing eyeglasses, and her nose and belly button are pierced, and she may be wearing a wig. I did some looking around to see if I could find any more photos I could use on her flyer last night, and I found her Facebook, I found her Instagram, and I noticed in several pictures that her hair is short, and she does tend to like to wear wigs, so we'll see what happens there. But if you have any information regarding Gracie's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or KBI 785-296-4017. And let's get her found and back to where she needs to be.
Is she still posting on social media?
On her Instagram, it looks like it's been a few weeks.
Okay.
But in Facebook, I couldn't find a really current one, but
you'll have some
reasonably current,
and they'll continue posting on some of these social media.
Yeah,
they have those geolocators that can take a picture and find any. They'll tell you exactly where the picture is taken just by looking at like the trees and stuff in the background.
Yeah.
So if there's any kids that are still posting to social media, we should try to get some geolocators. All right, we're gonna be right back after this with some out-of-state cases.
Part 3, out-of-state cases. Beyond Kansas borders, stories of the lost and the unsolved remind us that every missing voice deserves to be heard.
Okay. Let me get down to where she's located in my files here. Right there. And this is Rochelle Elizabeth Hammond. She is missing from Moscow, Colorado since August 15th, 2019. Was 30 when she was missing. She's now 35, 5'6", 120 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen walking away from her Moscow, Colorado home. She left all her belongings behind, including her phone, her identification, her car, computer, tools, and pet dog. She'd only been living in the area for about 3 weeks prior to her disappearance. She previously lived in the Columbus, Ohio area. She may be living homeless. Although police can find little evidence in her disappearance, her mother believes she did not leave of her own accord and may have been a human trafficking victim. She does suffer from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia and has been prescribed medication for her conditions, which she also left behind. Rochelle's nose is pierced. She has numerous tattoos, including the phrase "Live like a lion" on her upper chest, the star behind her ear, a skull on the back of her wrist, stars on the inside of her forearm, cat with a bong on her shoulder, and other tattoos. And you can see the photos of some of them down there along the bottom. She was last known to be wearing a black tank top, khaki shorts, black Nike shoes, and a silver circular barbell in her nose. If you have any information regarding Rochelle's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Alamosa County, Colorado Sheriff's Office at 719-589-6608 and see if we can help get her located and back to where she needs to be. I know her mom's deeply worried about her, and best thing we can do is keep sharing, and hopefully it'll get in front of the eyes of somebody that knows something, and we'll call it in and let them know what they know.
Yeah, that's those sand dunes out there in Colorado. They don't look like they belong there. It looks like a Photoshop thing, but apparently they're sand dunes in Colorado.
It does kind of.
There's a gator farm there too.
Colorado is just things I didn't know
How
about.
would gators survive in Colorado?
I
That's
know.
weird.
I
How
don't know,
gators?
but they got a gator farm there.
I'll be darned. And this one is Dana Jane Bruce, one we've been religiously covering for a very long time. She's missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. Was 23 when she went missing. She's now 39. She's 5'2", 98 pounds, brown hair, green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia, Missouri. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight, gave the babysitter more money, and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that Dana was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana's after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her again after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. At the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She'd now be 39. She's 5'2", 98 pounds, brown hair that was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word "Rebel" in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. She has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye, and she has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or toll free at 866-362-6422 or private investigator Leslie at 910-427-0070 and see what we can do to get Dana located and back home to where she needs to be. Fugly says sand dunes are by Alamosa, excellent place to go play. Dana and Ellen saying thank you for saying Dana Bruce and Rochelle Hammond's flyers. You're very welcome, Ellen, and we will continue to do so until they are both found. So keep sharing them, get them in front of the right eyes, and somebody's got to know something. So somebody, please call it in. And Derek, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
I was muted, but I'm good. I should be back on now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the dogs were going crazy, so I got up to see what was going on.
Oh, okay. Hopefully nobody's trying to break in or anything.
It's been an awesome show. Me and Hope and Steph will be live here in about 10 minutes with our new show, More at 10. We'll be talking about some current events. One of the things we're going to talk about, we'll talk about Ty Marquardt a little bit to sort of get into Texas County right now is in trouble some fraud stuff going on in Texas County. Stephanie's going to tell us about it. We're going to try to understand it, but apparently millions of dollars were stolen in a scheme allegedly by some Texas County officials, and that's the county I live in, so that could be scary.
Wow. Oh, wow. Wow.
That's the county me and Hope are sitting in. So
Yeah.
The first says, thank you, Ricky, Derek, and Hope. You're very welcome. Yeah, we'll be back again next week, obviously, hopefully. Good
and if
Lord
you're
willing,
looking
the
for a
devil.
reason to visit Elkhart, come here for Dairy Cream. They got
Dairy
amazing
Cream.
food. Dairy Cream with a K.
No.
Amazing food.
Yes, line is very easy, highway access. And we're right at the crossroads of Interstate I-135 and I-70. And so it'd be nothing for somebody to come in, do something, and head out again. You know, it wouldn't be hard at all. Yeah. And that was another case I was kind of deep diving into today, too, is the Black Dahlia from back in 1945. That's bizarre case. Very bizarre. I've been contemplating maybe trying to cover that one, but I can't show pictures because the crime scene photos that are out there are pretty gruesome. I mean, she was cut in half at the waist, and it was done with surgical precision. And when they found her body, it was laying in the grass, nude, and like I said, cut in half, kind of pulled apart about a foot or so, and kind of offset a little bit. Her legs were spread. Her arms were kind of up over her head. One of her breasts were cut off. 2 feet of her hair were cut off and shoved in her private area. There was not one single drop of blood with the body. It's like they completely drained the body of all blood before they took the body and put it there. But this case is still unsolved after over 70 years. They still don't know who did it. So anyway,
yeah,
it's a bizarre case. I've been watching several different podcasts today about it, and it's just bizarre. Really weird. But yeah, anyway, yeah, everybody follow this channel, follow Derek's channel, follow Kansas Missing and Unsolved. And I've also got at Kansas Missing on Twitter, and I just launched a Blue Sky a couple weeks ago, trying to get that one going too. So I figured, one more place to get these flyers out is Blue, that's why I started the Blue Sky. So but with that being said, then we'll go ahead and say, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to go over these cases. And as I was saying throughout the show, I just pray they get in front of the right eyes and the right ears that'll do the right thing and get that information in there that'll help bring somebody home or solve an unsolved murder. Until we see each other next week, everybody stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy, and God bless everybody, and amen.
Amen.